Hello, and thank you for joining, everybody. And welcome to those new Elevating Connecting members, and or if you're just joining for the very first time, welcome. Thank you so much. So today is a kind of an amazing lean into, and also a little bit of a controversy. Um, is it controversy? It's I think we all understand it. I think we all have an inner knowing that when we set dreams, when we set goals, when we are actively working on trying to expand ourselves, lean into elevating our experience in this planet, in this lifetime, that there is usually, and I'm going to say usually with the understanding, and again, let's be a little bit real here, where it's always there. There's some fear, there's some restriction, there's some dynamics that create a little bit of resistance. That resistance is there for a reason. It's challenging you. It's allowing you to be able to lean in and allowing you to be able to, I guess, on a certain level, like express to the universe, to the manifestation process, that this is something that you really need and you're wanting to put the work in. And when it kind of comes back and when hurdles and struggles come forward, which they will, it also kind of motivates you to build that resilience, to build what you need to be able to move forward. And that doesn't just happen overnight. That needs to kind of take some time, and there's the ebbs and flows of things. So this is probably going to be a 2-3 part series. If you want the full series, please join into my or please subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you are already a subscriber, thank you so much for joining. And and I look forward to kind of going through and diving deep into this, because there is several stages, and we want to begin to cultivate how to not only accept the fear and thrive in. And again, I activate, or I use that word fear, because even underneath, if you go deeper, it's like doubt and maybe confidence and motivation. Maybe there's a lack of resources or lack of time. This is what some of the stories that can come forward. And I want to challenge that. I want to challenge it. I want you to look at it in a slightly different perspective that will hopefully allow you to begin to make some forward movement, and to begin to, even if it just starts to reshift your concept or your ideas of how you can move forward to accomplish your goals, to get a little bit more creative on how to get that excitement and to get that joy around accomplishing goals. Because a lot of us, that's a big piece, that it feels so overwhelming, it feels so huge, so heavy, that it just kind of creates that cycle of fear and doubt and lack of motivation, everything I just expressed. So let's dive in. Let's start to kind of create the base, create the foundational base of this of of these teachings. So to begin with, when we put out into the universe, when we start to talk about, or maybe again, when I say talk about, it's usually the internal talk. It takes zero seconds to be able to get an incredible idea, an incredible thought, an incredible, you know, want in your life, and to kind of have this like deep gut sensation of like, imagine if this was to occur, imagine if I was to do that, imagine. These dreams are so valuable and so important, yet most of us are so, and I call it like the busy. It's so busy that we don't have the time, the space to really, or we don't give ourselves the time and space to really sink into some of those aha moments that we come across in our day-to-day experience. And so when you first of all begin to, let's say, bring said dream, said goal, said whatever into reality, maybe you've written it out, maybe you started to clarify what your needs and wants are, which by the way is one of the most important steps. It's fascinating to me, and it's fascinating in my own experience and my own life challenges and struggles, is the amount of fear. So everything that you might have been excited about, or you're in your mind, and if you're an expressive creative thinker, that which I am, it doesn't always make sense right away, but I can feel what it would feel like to have said dream or said goal, and I can actually visualize myself there, and that gets me excited, that gets me, that makes me want to move forward. Yet that fear, or that heavy resistance that kind of all of a sudden urges everything, is part of the experience. It's part of it's I'm going to normalize it. I'm going to talk about it a lot in my teachings, where we have a systematic response system to things, and when our exterior environment is creatively and activating our creative process, meaning that we are getting those aha moments, which can be for the individual. It can also be a collective. So sometimes, and it actually happens way more often than we are aware of, sometimes you'll see or you think about an incredible idea or an incredible concept, and or a dream, a goal, a reality, and then all of a sudden it just feels like to you like everything around you is doing the same thing, or everyone around you is doing the same thing, and it's part of the collective. It's important as well. Again, sometimes that fear that tends to integrate into our story, into our mental story. It also brings that information in as like, oh, I swear that was my idea or my thought or my da, 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 da. I must have seen it elsewhere. Someone's going to do it better than I am. Like there's all these doubt, self communication pieces that come in, and I just want to really lean into that ideas are going to come forward. The universe is constantly trying to, I believe, evolve us and help us to grow, and support us in that growth. And it's giving these opportunities. And if you don't necessarily put the work or give yourself the time and the focus to be able to go in and do the work, it's just going to pass along to another individual or another group of people, or like it's constantly being shared. And I'm talking a little bit on the metaphysical, as far as like that concept of that we are all connected, and that we all have this beautiful ability to energetically feed off of each other in a way that supports us, and we all grow and thrive as a community, and as a society, and as a species. Or, and again, these are choices within the individual, within your story. Or we choose to look at everything as competitive, and lack of, and not having this or not having that, those excuses, those victimhood mentalities, which again is part of the human experience. We all have that. We will all have that. How do you lean into these layers and begin to make them work for you, instead of, if depending on where you are in your story and where you are in your kind of creative process, but can it work for you, or can it kind of stale you, and get you really, really stuck and frustrated and overwhelmed, and all the feelings isolated? I mean, all these feelings have a huge part to play with a lot of those shared experiences. And it's the shared experiences that, even though we're feeling isolated, we're feeling judged, maybe judging of self, judgment from others, it starts this cycle that kind of keeps us heavy and stuck, or it motivates us, it kind of compels us to shift and to get rid of some of the heaviness, and allow ourselves to grow from the crap that we all have in our mind, and that we keep on bringing forward to keep us stuck. That is good manure, if you want to talk about, like just thinking of uh metaphor. So that is going to be the fertilizer that helps you to grow into this next evolutionary state or stage. So as we go through this systematic response system, is a big part of our internal communication. So how we are, our internal dialogue, however you want to look at it, that internal communication really starts to either kind of lead you in one direction or lead you in the other direction. And that response, our automatic response system, is going to do it what has been your habit so far. So the most important piece is, first of all, just to feel that, just to accept that, and where you feel comfortable in putting yourself within that paradigm. Okay. Now, no matter where you are in that process, I want to really clearly articulate as best as I can that you meet yourself where you are. It's so important to stay in your own lane. So if you are constantly looking outside of yourself for acceptance, appreciation, for motivation, a lot of these things that need to start within that internal communication, and you're looking, and again, this is something that happens when our mindset is stuck, because to look within feels so scary and so there's so much there to feel. It can be overwhelming. Those feels can be overwhelming. Yet if we're constantly looking outside of ourselves, there's a lot of blame, there's a lot of resentment, there's a lot of those kind of emotions, which, I mean, I've always wanted to do a diagram. Maybe I'll do a diagram on my passions.io app, because those diagrams can sometimes help you to understand that cycle, and it can keep you tethered to that proverbial pull where you might be moving, but you're never moving within and beyond that cycle. Hence, you're never feeling like you're growing. And in my personal opinion, you are always growing. That growth pattern happens. However, how much you are choosing to grow is up to you. Okay. So movement around that tethered pole, or get rid of the pole, get rid of the restriction, the harness that's around your throat, and begin to just live a forward movement concept of life. Okay. Forward movement is the catalyst to ambition, and ambition not being a negative word, but ambition leads to motivation. The motivation allows you to build and create and be able to enhance not only your life but the life that you share with many individuals. The ripple effect is powerful, and that ripple effect affects everybody that you encounter, again, on both sides of the paradigm. Okay, on both sides of this, let's call it a pendulum swing. Okay, when the pendulum swings to both sides, again, choosing and kind of being stuck and feeling really heavy emotions or heavy vibration, and then feeling very light and free and being able to feel like you have, and I say control with like control, creative control, creativity. Like these are both sides, and there's learning on both sides. One is not necessarily better than the other, yet I feel within a lifetime, we both need to feel both aspects of them, because then we can kind of feel out and find where that balance is between the two. Okay. So a lot of things bringing it forward. I want to keep this, and again, there's a 3-part system. So this is just the first part, just beginning to tantalize and beginning to get the mind to think about it. As soon as we start to think about it, then, and you might even find that it starts to just bring those few forward steps that you need, and things start to click. Okay. The next stage, or the next piece, the next level to this, is just really beginning to ask yourself some powerful and intuitive questions. Okay, so we're going to start to go into the second stage by starting off with a meditation, which gets us aligned with our intuition. And then we can start to really ask ourselves the questions, and you can go into a little bit of creative writing, which attunes you to your truth, attunes you to where your pieces, your heavy, is coming from. So finding our root. Okay, when we find the roots, then we solidify, we use that fertilizer, and then we begin to grow forward. We begin to grow upwards. Okay. So thank you for joining in so far. I look forward to you joining in hopefully for the next level. See you on my YouTube channel. Bye.